What is up, Need for Speed racers? It is I, your wheelman, Alex Cornnut. We're here today with the S-Class 1971 Skyline. World record setting runs. I've got 3 of them. World record setting builds. I've got 2 of them. And 1 really good driver. Me. No. Nova Speed held the world record on rapid transit. I wanted to break that, and I did 3 times. So, Nova Speed, tossing it back to you, my man. It's your turn. I do it with both the engine that Nova Speed did the record in, the V12, and I also do it in the V8 that I prefer. I'm going to bring you both builds. They're both different. You've not seen them yet. So, take that. This is a new, updated version of this car, highly optimized for rapid transit, but also I'm going to give you some pointers and some tips to make it very good and viable all the way around. Unc RC, the guy behind the music, he has got his own SoundCloud now. He's had it for a while, but he just rejuvenated it, put a lot of the tunes that you guys have been hearing in my videos there. So if you've been looking for those beats, link down below. Go check out Unc, check out his beats, drop a like over there, put some comments on the SoundCloud music. It's pretty cool. So give him some love. Shout out to the Cornnut crew. I love this livery. It's really, really growing on me. I like that it's very personalized. You can make it kind of any color you want and still be in the theme of everybody that's running it. So big shout out to my guys that did that. Let me show you the builds that I've got. I'm going to talk you through the differences of each, and then I'll show you the runs at the end. It's a lot of fun. I was happy to do it. It's very rare that I go chase record times, but under the circumstances, I was close enough that I didn't think it'd be too hard. And after a few hours today, I was able to do it, so it was worth it. Let me show you what we've got. For my personal build, what I think is the overall best all-around car, it is the 2.9 liter V8, 471 brake horsepower when you start. For the parts, you're running Elite Platinum across the board. So you're running Elite Platinum induction. You're running Elite Platinum ECU, Elite Platinum fuel system, Elite Platinum exhaust. Here's the change. I went with Elite Platinum twin turbos. 2 reasons. 1, some people were complaining that the car was too hard to drive. I didn't really have any issues with that. I thought the car drove fine. But for the sake of everyone else, the twins have a little less torque at the bottom end, but still a lot more than the 12. So it's a little easier to drive in this configuration. But for me on rapid, out of all the different inductions, the turbo was a little slow to spool, so it didn't quite help. The twins were a good mix of what a supercharger can give me and what the single turbo does at the top end. So under boost, the twin turbos gave me a higher boost speed than the supers did. And so that's why I defaulted to the twin turbos for my record setting runs on rapid. And overall drivability, I think this will help you guys out a little bit. Like I say, me, I kind of like the roots, but a lot of guys don't. So that being said, guys, try it with the twins. I think it'll wake up the car in a lot of ways you didn't expect, and you'll be very happy with it. Sport Bronze Nitrous, Elite Platinum road suspension, Iron basic brakes, Elite Platinum grip tires, Iron basic clutch, Super Gold 7-speed transmission, Elite Platinum differential, Nitrous Drift and Nitrous Grip are the auxiliaries I use in the gameplay footage, so you can see you need to micro drift. It's how you make the car go fast. We're not drifty, we're micro drifty because it's a grip build, and that's the way to go in this car for sure. For the handling, slide it all the way to the left, 80% grip. Steering sensitivity, 2 clicks high. Downforce, 3 clicks to the right off of center. So 1, 2, 3. That is S329. That's the only spot that you can put the twin turbos in it and have it sit at S-Class. So check that out. That's pretty cool. Traction control off, drift entry, brake tap. This configuration here, the downforce is higher. It allows the car to grip and Tron turn a little more predictably. It allows it to go and soak up some of the hills and not get airborne as much. And overall, like for blue collar, for on rails, for just a lot of the other S-Class tracks, this did very, very well. For a track like Fishhook or Rapid Transit, the other engine and build configuration I have for you might be a little better way to go. So I'll walk you through that one as well. For the engine in the second build, which I currently hold the fastest run in, it is the V12. The reason I think the V12 is they actually got the fastest is because this particular motor, for whatever reason with the twins, boosts to a higher top speed. So with the V8, I was boosting to about 211, 212, maybe 213 once, but for the most part it was kind of in that range. With this engine, with a 3-bar of boost, it'll hit 215 and then backs down from that. So every lap, every straightaway, this car was going faster for a moment. And then the redline tech with this engine on rapid is around 210 to 11 if you back it down real slow. And so overall, this redline tech's a little faster top speed and it boosts to a little higher top speed. And so I think that's why I was able to get the best run out of it. That being said, I spent the least amount of time in this build. I was just trying to show it to one of the other guys that was watching, and then ended up setting a ridiculous run in it. And I was like, well, here we go. So overall, there are caveats between the two, but to get the power out of this that I got and still have it handle half decent, the build's a lot different than what you guys have seen before. So you're running Elite Platinum induction, but you're running Gold Super ECU, you're running Gold Super fuel system, and you're running Elite Platinum exhaust, Elite Platinum twin turbos, Sport Bronze nitrous, Elite Platinum road suspension. That's the big difference between what like Nova ran and what I have here. I went with the road suspension because I felt like it made the car handle better, turn better, micro drift better, and also accelerate a little smoother. And so even though it's got less horsepower than other versions, this feels a lot better to drive. And so sometimes not always chasing horsepower and torque is the way to go if you're suffering drivability from that. So I would recommend running the road suspension, Iron Basic brakes, Elite Platinum grip tires, Iron Basic clutch, Super Gold 7-speed transmission, and the Elite Platinum differential. Auxiliaries are the same, nitrous drift, nitrous grip. Now to get this car to be S329 instead of the 330 it's currently at, go to your handling, back it down to 70% grip. That's what I did for my runs. Now take your downforce, because I wanted to give the car as much top end as possible, and run your downforce to the left, right there. 3 clicks to the left of center. So 1, 2, 3. That is S329. That gives this car the best top end, and it gave it that boost speed of 215. Did a lot of testing with this build and the V8. I mean, when you're hunting the fastest time in a car, you really start to make little changes and subtle changes to see what's up. This version on Rapid, and I think probably also Fishhook, would be very good because they have the highest top speed. That being said, I had to take a lot of the downforce out of it. So on tracks like Blue Collar, tracks like on rails, tracks like riding the L, those types of tracks, you're making tight corners, you want a Tron turn, this isn't going to hook up as good because it's not nearly as planted. So we made some sacrifices to go fast on Rapid. Traction control off, drift entry, brake, tap. Overall, both builds are good. I mean, we're splitting hairs, but when you're going for the maximum optimization and making the cars go as fast as possible, you start to make sacrifices. I always default to road suspension over regular suspension because it makes the cars turn better. It makes the radius by which they corner tighter. That compared with or paired with the grip tires allows the cars to handle very well. This is already a very rowdy car. Why take suspension out of it and make sacrifices there? So overall, I went faster with less horsepower and torque because I could turn and maneuver the car more predictably and faster. Now that might not be everybody. You might be able to run it just fine with the regular suspension and you're setting fast times in it. But for me, right now, I'm the record setter on Rapid in this car. These are the builds that I used. I've brought you both of them. Let me show you the lap times after this. Like I said, Nova, your turn, buddy. Let me see what you got. I honestly expect my record to fall pretty quickly once I have the gameplay footage out, because I do it different than what the other guys that are going fast are currently doing. I'm using my boost and I'm using my NOS in different spots, getting more from my resources, and that is allowing me to go a little faster, I think. None of my runs are perfect. There's definitely room. I miss a 3-bar in one. I only get 2 bars in another corner. Like, just different places where I could optimize. And if I had 3 perfect laps, I really see the record being like maybe 227, definitely a 228. I mean, there's a second left out there to find. But for right now, I'm 229, and I beat the record by almost 2 seconds. So we're moving pretty fast out here. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for the gameplay footage. I'm thankful for you. Have a great rest of your day. And like the video while you're at it, bro. Thank you. Subscribe also if you haven't, because that's what I'm doing out here. I make builds for the fans, and I make builds for me, and I set really fast times. I'm a good driver. I've got 800 plus hours in the game. My partner in crime, Nil, has got 2,000 hours. Between the two of us, well, no, between the two of us, we have 2,000 hours. He's got 1,200 hours. So my 8 plus his 12, 2,000. That's where got a little mixed up. My bad, boys. Regardless, we've got a lot of time in the game. I'd say that we're probably the build authority on stuff, and I'm confident to say we're probably the best speed shop in Need for Speed Unbound right now. So bring us your requests. Let us help you out. Join the Cornnut crew. Discord down below. Support me on Patreon. All the things. Whatever you can do to help me out, I'm here to help you. We'll see you guys next time. Watch that gameplay footage. Bye-bye. All right. First race on Rapid. I've got 3 for you. This is the slowest. I'll kind of talk you through some of the things that I definitely know I can improve on, but at the end of the day, I want to show you that I am pretty consistent on this track, and I was able to break the world record 3 times before I finally set it out at 29. Launch in 5th, get a good start. We're pulling in behind our buddy Lord, bump in the back of him, lose any momentum that we had. That kind of sucked, but it is what it is. Overall, we're still able to go fast. So even with that mistake, we still go faster than the current world record. That kind of gives you an idea of the pace that I'm running in these cars. If I was to get a perfect run, I really do believe a 28 or a 27 is possible. I saved the 3-bar till I'm lined up to go down the ramp and get as much speed going down here as possible. We get a grip turn there, get a near miss. That allows us to make this corner going a little over 200, 202, 203, pretty consistent there. I use the boost entering on the tracks. That is abnormal for me. I usually save it, but regardless, with the way the start was and the way our boost started chaining together, I really wasn't on the same pace I normally am. So now I'm trying to make up time. Hit the 3-bar. It blipped into 213 for a second, but you'll see that we're kind of cruising right around 206. That's the difference between the V8 and the 12. The 12 will redline tech a little higher and allow you to get down that straightaway a little faster with the lower downforce. You'll see I'm very consistent there, saving that 3-bar till I'm lined up going down the ramp. If you're turning and you're using boost, you're bleeding speed as opposed to if you're lined up and you're doing it in a straight line. So if you guys are trying to set times, try to use that 3-bar in a different way. Now you'll see here, I save it until I get out of the dirt and then line it up and then go as straight and kind of wide as I can there, so that way I get the most out of the boost, make that corner going around 200. 3-bar again, you see 213 for just a second, but then we're back down floating around 206, 207. That is really what this car does, getting the most out of it. But even though it's a little slower on the top end, it accelerates a little better with the torque. So we're kind of splitting hairs, we're trading, there's differences. On this track, there's only 2 tight corners, so the top speed is better. But on a track like Blue Collar or some of the other ones that have more corners, that torque is a big deal, and I really think that this build is the one that you'll get the best times in. And it's really easy to be consistent with the turbos. So coming around this last corner here, we just barely get our 3-bar, we cap it, go nice and wide. Now I'm trying to get a tight line, so shorter track, faster time. Use our 3-bar there, 212, we don't even hit 213. Trying to redline tech, doesn't really happen. But overall, we come in and we do a 230. 99. But still a 230. World record pace. Let's move on to the next one. Alright, run number 2 on Rapid. Now this is the faster of the two in the V8. Definitely gets it done. Different lines, still not perfect. But at the end of the day, we're just trying to go fast. So we start in 5th, get a good launch. We're in the 2nd position, that's good. We are a little lucky. Those F40s got a good draft, so we were able to kind of slide in behind them. We don't rear end anybody, so that allows us to carry a little more speed. We get by those guys. I'm trying to tuck in and get as much from Lord as I can. We avoid the train. That puts me into the dirt there, so that's a little slower corner than I normally would. I drift instead of grip turn out. The near miss brings us our 3 bar, so we're blessed there. So that whole first section is not as perfect as it could be, but regardless, we do all right. So you'll see that we're coming around this corner. We're doing 202, 204. We're doing pretty well. The turbos are treating us right. I save that boost until I get into this zone, and then hit it in a straight line, and then begin to turn. Once I start that turn, I do not stop turning until I'm at this straightaway. That way I get a nice long grip turn. And once again, you'll see it blips right off of 212. I'm trying to redline tech. 209 is what we see there. But really, I'm really working for it. We come in here. Nice little micro drift. I'm getting a grip turn and a drift turn at the same time. Come out of that and chain it together. Gives us a 3 bar grip turn. Accelerate down the hill. Trying to get a near miss. Doesn't quite work. We will hold our speed through here. Now we're doing 204, 205. That's a great speed around this corner. I mean, we're flying, you guys. We're on pace. And that's what I'm trying to do, because for a period of time, this was the fastest run on Rapid. Now I get out a little wide there, a little bit of a bobble, slows us down, but regardless, we're still going to get a nice grip turn and begin our 3rd lap. You'll see once again, it blips at 213 but doesn't stay there. That's the difference, you guys. That other V12, once you get the handling down a little bit, it'll help you out. Now we avoided the train, we got off in the dirt. That's another thing that makes these runs not perfect. Like, I'm rear-ended the guy in the last one. I'm avoiding the train, getting in the dirt there. I lose my boost. I was trying to chain it together, mess that up. So overall, there's tons of room for optimization here. I mean, overall, we take out some of those mistakes. And this right here is a 329 run. But life is what you make it. And we made some mistakes. So it's all right. Going through here, we're a little slower than I normally would be. I'm using all of my NOS to get back up to speed. We're just barely starting to get up in the high 90s. Now it's low 90s. That's the difference. Other runs or other laps we were going faster. Overall, we're going to cross the line, and that is also a 230 with room for improvement. The V8 is really a very good engine, and I think I could probably improve on that, but that's a 230.65. Both of those runs were with the V8. Now let me show you the run in the 12. All right, the V12. Now, I don't care for this engine for a lot of different reasons. It doesn't sound as good, doesn't have nearly as much torque, so it doesn't pull you out of the corners as good, but I'll be damned if it's not the fastest overall top speed motor you can throw in the car. So we get a little bit of a draft there, able to cap some yellow going in. We barely are able to keep in the draft. I'd say this doesn't quite launch as good as the V8. Just because we were able to keep up with the F40s a little more before. But going in, now we've got almost a 3 bar, but I cap it before we get to 3, and then it gives us a grip turn. There's 3 bars going down the hill. So overall, we're similar, but we had to use a lot more boost to get up to speed there. Now you'll see our turning cruising speed here is around 200. It's about the same as the V8. So overall, the cars are very similar up into this section. Now, as we go through here and we make this corner, I'm going to boost, get up to speed. We're going 202 around the corner. High 190s, that's pretty normal. Watch the speed, 215 for a moment. And then we're able to cruise at 210 for a second. And then we slowly come down. But during that straightaway, we are carrying more speed than the V8 because of the way this motor is geared, because of what's going on. So that being said, that's allowing us to get extra time. We don't carry as much speed through this section, and so we kind of suffer a little bit, but overall we shoot for overall lap times around the entire track. And so when you put all the combination of parts together and all the pieces on Rapid, this is a pretty good way to go. I highly suggest running this with the road suspension, you guys. I tried it without it. I did not like the way the car turned in turn 1 or on this turn. So you'll see again 215 for a moment, and then we're able to carry 209, 210, whereas before we were doing the best we could to barely get 208. And you'll also see that this runs a lot cleaner. We're really not interacting with the train. We're not getting in the gravel. We're able to carry a lot more speed through the corners. I mean, this is the last of the runs that I did. I switched to this engine, got this gameplay, and then was like, fuck it, time to make a video. So if I went back and ran the V8 and got a clean run, I think I could definitely push the time down. But that's the difference between the two. The V8 gets us out of the corners. This gets us a little better on the top speed side of things. So on fishhook, on rapid, this motor does really well. On literally everything else, I think that I would default to the other one. Boom, 215 again. Now we're redline teching, and we are going to go across the line and do my personal goal of what I wanted to, a 229.99. Just barely squeaking in there, you guys. But regardless, it's a 229. There's room for improvement. You guys see that. It could happen with the V8. It could happen with the 12. I think the V8's better because it's got more torque. That's my personal car. That's what I like. But at the end of the day, both of these builds are fresh for you guys. There's differences across the board. And even though we took some horsepower out, it made this car still set a world record time. And so just because you got the horsepower and torque, if you can't turn it, what's the point? Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.